Steam Deck এতদিন ছিল হ্যান্ডহেল্ড জগতের কিং until came the Asus ROG Ally, the biggest rival. আজকে আমরা এই দুটি টেস্ট করব যে এই দুটির মধ্যে কোনটি বেটার। সো Steam Deck versus Asus ROG Ally and let's see কোনটা পারফর্ম করে বেটার। So let's get into this video without further ado. Now we're gonna be unboxing first of all the Asus ROG Ally box contents দেখবো। So first the device থাকবে Asus ROG Ally and then ভিতরে তো compartments থাকবে, cardboard compartments, যেখানে আপনার চার্জার থাকবে, 65 watt brick with Asus ROG engraved on it, and also some instruction manuals like on the other side which no one ever reads. So that's basically it. সাথে কোনো পাউচ থাকছে না, but if you get a Chinese variant you will get a pouch for free. And as for the Steam Deck, so it comes in a pouch. So একটা pouch থাকে, উপর একটা cardboard cover থাকে with Steam Deck logo on it, and the pouch looks really premium. So let's unchain the thing. So chain খোলার পর just ভিতরে থাকবে হচ্ছে the device itself. ভিতরে চার্জিং ব্রিক সেপারেট দেওয়া হয়। So the device itself এটা ভালো হয়েছে কারণ এটি ক্যারি করার জন্য অনেক ইজিয়ার হবে একটি পাউচ। এটা Asus ROG Ally দিলে ভালো হতো, বাট only Chinese variant available. And here's the power brick, যেটা আলাদা একটা সেপারেট বক্সে থাকে, পুরোটা একটা বড় কার্ডবোর্ড বক্সে থাকে, বাট আমি আলাদা করে ফেলেছি। So that's all. Now আমরা boot up test করব. Let's see which device wakes up from sleep faster. So first আমরা দেখতে পাচ্ছি যে Asus ROG Ally followed by the Steam Deck. Okay, so I think this time the Asus ROG Ally is gonna turn on first because of its better NVMe chip. And yes, and since it's running Windows, so the boot up is much more smoother than the Linux counterpart on the Steam Deck. So আসলে উইন্ডোজ থাকার কারণে Asus ROG Ally এর মধ্যে আপনি অনেক বেশি গেম অ্যাক্সেস পাবেন এবং অনেক বেশি ইজ অফ অ্যাক্সেস পাবেন, বাট Linux is also a good system, but it's complex and not for the average user. So boot up test done. Asus ROG Ally won this one. So এখন এটি বডি সাইজ এন্ড ডাইমেনশনস নিয়ে কথা বলা যায়। The Steam Deck এটি একটু বেশি heavier. This comes at 669 grams of weight, so it's a little bit heavier to hold on hand, whereas a Asus ROG Ally only weighs around 608 grams, which is not that much lower, but হাতের মধ্যে significantly less weight feel হবে। Therefore this is the Asus ROG Ally has Xbox style controllers, so the two sides of Xbox side Xbox controller যেভাবে লেআউটটি থাকে, and this is more comfortable to hold as opposed to the Steam Deck's one যেটা side by side, যেটা মাঝে মধ্যে uncomfortable হয়ে যায় হোল্ড করতে, because দুইটা বাটন এক সাইডে থাকা আসলে sometimes really uncomfortable to hold it right. So I like this haptic feedback better. এটার যে আপনার drifting ইস্যুটাও এটা তো কম হবে because of the smoothness of the controller as opposed to this. এটি XYAB buttons রয়েছে, Xbox style, and also these buttons over here, but it is missing one thing that the Steam Deck has, that is the touchpad makes it easier to control your mouse, but এখানে আপনি মাউস কন্ট্রোল করতে হবে আপনার ফিঙ্গার্স দিয়ে, and there is no other option. But এটি একটু যদি Asus ROG Ally থাকতো তাহলে জিনিসটা আসলে বেটার হতো। তারপর স্পিকারসের জন্য থাকছে 2x ফ্রন্ট স্পিকার অন দ্য Asus ROG Ally, যেটি হচ্ছে ফ্রন্ট ফায়ারিং স্পিকার, সো আপনার একদম সামনে থেকে আওয়াজটা আসবে, which will be more clear, whereas for the Steam Deck there is two front facing speakers here on the side, but the grills are smaller, so এখানে দেখে মনে হচ্ছে the speakers are comparatively smaller than the Asus ROG Ally. And also I have tested the Asus ROG Ally sounds better in many circumstances. Okay, now comes to the ports. So for the Asus ROG Ally there is one Asus XG connector over here, one USB-C, one micro USB controller, and a headphone jack, the trusty old headphone jack. So this is the Asus ROG controller. And as for the Steam Deck, we can see that there is a USB-C type port, and there is air vents and a aux port for cable earphone connection. এছাড়া কিছু নেই। So এখানে আপনি এক্সটার্নাল ডিসপ্লে কানেক্ট করতে পারছেন না, এক্সটার্নাল গ্রাফিক্স কার্ড কানেক্ট করতে পারছেন না, as like the Steam Deck, as like the Asus ROG Ally. Also there is a micro SD card slot over here, and the micro SD card slot over here is on the bottom. Steam Deck এটা হচ্ছে bottom side, front side না, এটা হচ্ছে front side, এটা bottom side. So that's some key differences between the body structure, and also দেখে বুঝতে পারছেন that the Steam Deck is significantly larger in size. So হাতের মধ্যে নিতে the Asus ROG Ally feels more comfortable, that's for sure. but this feels the Steam Deck feels a bit more bulky, but যেহেতু এটি একটু বাল্কি, এটার পিছনের কার্ভেচারগুলো একটু বেশি, যার কারণে হাতে নিতে একটু বেশি কমফোর্টেবল লাগে আমার মতে। এটা হাতে গ্রিপ ভালো পায় আর কি। And then this is not a bad device, this also has a good grip, but the Steam Deck provides a better grip in that terms. And also backfiring speakers, backfiring earphones রয়েছে, and back side এ দুইটি বাটন রয়েছে that is designated as M1 and M2, whereas Steam Deck এর এখানে বাটন লেআউটটা একটু বেশি রয়েছে, which is on P1, P2, P3, P4. So there are 4 buttons. So button layout এর দিক থেকে there are more buttons in the Steam Deck along with the touchpad, but the layout is not that great as opposed to the Asus ROG Ally. I think the Asus ROG Ally does better in these terms. Now let's come to the display. So display is the area where the Steam Deck is comparison করাটাই বৃথা, because there is no competition at all. So the Steam Deck has a resolution of 1280 by 1800, whereas this is a full HD. The Asus ROG Ally supports a 1920 by 1080p. দুইটাই 7-inch panel, but এখানে যে দেখতে পাচ্ছেন Steam Deck এর bezelটা একটু বেশি বড়, whereas the Asus ROG Ally bezel is much smaller. So this makes the screen, although it is 7-inch, it makes it feel much more bigger than this. So this has a refresh rate of 60 Hz only, and this is a refresh rate of 120 Hz, 1080p and 120 Hz, and this is 720p at 60 Hz. So as you can see, there is a huge difference in the display. So an aspect ratio 16:9 for the Asus ROG Ally and 16:10, which is a bit weird for the Steam Deck. So display category it's not that performing, and also display color দেখতে পাচ্ছেন যে Steam Deck একটু faded feel হয়. So the panel type for the Asus ROG Ally is IPS panel, and same goes for this. This is also an IPS panel, but it seems a bit more washed out. I don't know, maybe for something. Both are touchscreen displays. Yes, both are touchscreen, and both and the AMD, and this one has AMD FreeSync support. AMD FreeSync হচ্ছে আমাদের একটা support যেটি আপনার FPS boost help করে, whereas this does not have any AMD support. So display is the area where the Asus ROG Ally outshines the Steam Deck, and also brightness এখানে অনেক বেশি. This let me show you. So let me go here, and as you can see, the brightness is put to max, and let me put out settings on the Steam Deck, and let me put it also to the max. Okay, it is at max, and you can clearly see that the Asus ROG Ally is much more brighter, because this is 500 nits as opposed to 400 nits on the Steam Deck. So 500 nits of brightness, that means you can play outside at the sunlight, direct sunlight, without any problem. So display is a category which is a big win for the Asus ROG Ally, but that doesn't mean that the Steam Deck has lost it yet. There are many other things. Now let's come to the specs. Specs wise, this thing is fully packed. And the Steam Deck is on a lower level than this. So specs wise, this is the AMD Ryzen Z1 Extreme Series processor. এটা আরেকটি ভার্সন আছে যেটা Z1 normal versionটা, এটা এখনো রিলিজ পায়নি. It's coming soon for a cheaper price, but this is the Z1 Extreme architecture version, and this is a Zen 4 GPU, Zen 4 architecture, whereas this has AMD Vanguard APU, and the CPU architecture is Zen 2. So Zen 4 versus Zen 2, you can understand that it is 2 generations behind. So this has 8 cores and 16 threads, whereas this Steam Deck has 4 cores and 8 threads. So CPU performance should be, you cannot expect that much CPU performance from the Steam Deck as you can do from the Asus ROG Ally. So the max CPU clock for the Asus ROG Ally is 5.1 GHz Z1 Extreme, and this only is capped up to 3.5 GHz. GPU architecture is RDNA 3 on the Asus ROG Ally and the RDNA 2 on the Steam Deck. GPU compute unit হচ্ছে double, kind of double on the Asus ROG Ally. It has 12 and this has only 8, and RAM, both of them have 16GB LPDDR5 RAMs, which are really good for gaming. And since I have already told you about the specs, I will show you some gaming benchmarks that I did and that I found on the internet. So as you can see that the Steam Deck preset quality and the Asus ROG quality, there is a huge difference in gaming performance between these two. So there is a noticeable difference between the performance, resolution থেকে শুরু করে everything, but একটা জিনিস সেটা বলতে হবে, 10 to 20 FPS এর জন্য আসলে এটি একটা $700 device, and this is only a $400 device. So there is a $200 to $300 gap. So is it worth it to spend that much just for 10 to 20 FPS? মোটেও না. Actually, Asus ROG Ally যদি আপনি চান best performance in your hand, so you can get it. But the thing is, the Steam Deck can do everything this can do. But the thing is, the performance is gonna be a bit slower than this. But otherwise, the Steam Deck is really an amazing device. Motivating this is a bad device. This is an amazing device. And the Asus ROG Ally, on the other hand, has some issues as pointed out by Asus, like the SD card heating issue, as you already know, and many other issues that is popping up. So if I had to actually give you a suggestion what to buy right now, I'm not gonna suggest to buy the Asus ROG Ally because it's still having trouble. So let it fix it. Then I think you should stick with the Steam Deck if you will get a job done all good. So now let's move to the next step. That is a big downside of the Asus ROG Ally, the battery life. So here I am doing a battery drain test between these two devices, and you'll be surprised to see that Steam Deck lasted double than that of the Asus ROG Ally. So Asus ROG Ally battery life was rumored to be pretty bad, and looks like the rumors were true, and it lasted almost half time less than the Steam Deck. The storage for this device, the base variant comes at 512GB, Xenon Extreme, so it comes with 512GB. যেটা হচ্ছে priced at around $700. আর 8-hour base variant যেটা আসে সেটা হচ্ছে গিয়ে 64GB, which is really low, কোনো গেম খেলাই যায় না. So you have to use expandable memory card, but এটার 512GB 1TB version আছে. This is the 512GB variant that I have in my hand. So নিলে আপনার স্টোরেজের ক্ষেত্রে Steam Deck 64GB এটা আসলে খুবই লো। আর একটা ভালো একটা যদি আপনি SD কার্ড কিনতে চান that has a high fast speed rate, তাহলে 7,000 to 8,000 টাকা আপনার এমনি চলে যাবে। So I would prefer that if you buy the Steam Deck, then add 10,000 or 12,000 more and get the more vast storage version, because you are gonna need it, that's for sure. So that was it for today's video, guys. So both these devices are amazing devices, but it's really hard to pick a clear winner. Suppose a display category, the Asus ROG Ally beats it. Game performance, there is a slight increase in the Asus ROG Ally, but in case of battery life, this device has more battery life. This has more accessible buttons, as you can see. Okay, this has a touchpad which makes it easier to use, and also the bigger and bulkier group fits more snugly on your hands. It has more programmable buttons in the back than the Asus ROG Ally. So both these devices are amazing. So if you are on a budget, then Steam Deck is the best choice for you. But if you are not on a budget, if you want performance, raw power, then the Asus ROG Ally can be your thing. So it really is not like the Asus ROG Ally totally destroys this. It's not like that, anything like that. Both devices are good in their own parts. But budget wise, Steam Deck, if you can increase your budget, then I should say that buy the Asus ROG Ally, but wait for Asus to fix the issues with the SD card reader and others. So thank you guys for watching. I hope this review came useful to you, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Bye.